Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty is a game that leaves an indelible mark. It's a sequel that doesn't just iterate, but redefines, weaving a complex tapestry of gameplay, story, and philosophy. It refines the mechanics of its predecessor, introduces bold narrative risks, and carves a unique niche within the Metal Gear series. And despite being a number 2 in a sprawling franchise, it stands out with prophetic themes and unforgettable moments that resonate decades later. Today I'll explore Metal Gear Solid 2 in depth, touching on its gameplay, story, and the overlooked Ghost Babel, a non-canonical but significant entry. If you haven't seen my prior discussion on Metal Gear Solid, I recommend checking it out for context, as I'll draw comparisons. Assume spoilers ahead, and if you enjoy this analysis, consider liking and subscribing to support the channel. And before diving into Metal Gear Solid 2, let's discuss Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel, a Game Boy Color title often dismissed due to its non-canonical status in mobile platform. Developed under producer Hideo Kojima, with Shinta Nojiri directing. Ghost Babel was designed to bring the Metal Gear experience to handheld gaming. Its origins lie in the European popularity of Metal Gear Solid on the PS1, prompting Konami to create a portable version for fans craving on-the-go stealth. The challenge was adapting the series' intricate systems to a limited system, considering players would likely engage in short bursts on commutes or breaks. The solution was a stage-based structure, breaking the game into digestible segments. Ikuya Nakamura, who handled pixel and screen design, faced the daunting task of preserving the Metal Gear aesthetic with the Game Boy Color's limited graphical power. Every pixel was meticulously placed to evoke the right tone for environments and characters. Tomokazu Fukushima, a writer from Metal Gear Solid, crafted the script, infusing it with the series' signature depth. Kojima, though not directing, contributed to the story's planning, emphasizing heavy themes. He saw Ghost Babel as an opportunity to explore what defines a game, a question he hoped players would ponder. Released as Metal Gear Solid in the US to capitalize on brand recognition, it was marketed as a mobile remake, but offered a distinct narrative. Set in an alternate timeline where Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, never occurred, Ghost Babel follows Solid Snake, retired in Alaska after the Outer Heaven incident. Colonel Campbell pulls him back for a mission. A transport plane carrying a new Metal Gear prototype was hijacked by the Gindra Liberation Front, GLF, led by General Augustine Eguibor, and taken to a fortress called Galuade, ominously dubbed Outer Heaven. Snake, more reserved than in other entries, reluctantly accepts after learning of the connection. His team includes Mei Ling, a SAVE contact and MIT PhD candidate, Brian McBride, a CIA operative with mission intel, Weasel, an untrustworthy mercenary, and Campbell, who has personal stakes. Gameplay mirrors the MSX Metal Gear 2 with stage-based stealth objectives, silenced weapons, and cardboard box sneaking. Despite the retro feel, Ghost Babel distinguishes itself with varied objectives and a darker tone. A standout feature for its time was multiplayer, allowing one-on-one battles via Game Boy Link cables, a first for the series. Though I couldn't test this due to emulation, it was a bold addition. The game's attention to detail shines, from its pixel art to its codec conversations, which deepen the narrative. A hidden radio play, unlocked on a second playthrough, adds further richness. The story begins with Snake parachuting into Galuid to infiltrate the fortress, destroy the Metal Gear, and rescue hostages. The Delta Force team he's meant to support is wiped out, leaving Chris Jenner, a disguised survivor, as his ally. She reveals the Metal Gear is nearly complete, led by engineer James Jimmy the Wizard Harks, and introduces the Black Chamber Mercenaries, Slasher Hawk, Marionette Owl, Pyro Bison, and their leader Black Arts Viper. Each boss, defeated in classic Metal Gear fashion, shares their backstory, fostering empathy. Slasher Hawk, raised among Australian Aborigines but never accepted, found purpose with Viper. Marionette Owl, driven to madness by a childhood tragedy, was molded by Viper's ideals. Pyro Bison, a former Foxhound operative, reveals Black Chamber's betrayal by the government, fueling their vendetta. As Snake navigates Galuade, he learns that Metal Gear is part of Project Babel, a mysterious US initiative. Jimmy, a young prodigy, is a bratty counterpart to Otacon, indifferent to the weapon's consequences. The plot darkens when Chris is suspected as a traitor, and Jimmy is killed by Viper to torment Snake. The final confrontation reveals the US backed both Outer Heaven and the GLF to sow global discord, with Project Babel aiming to cement US dominance. Snake defeats Viper and the General, escaping with Chris to seek answers in the US Ghost Babel, succeeds as a compact yet ambitious entry, blending nostalgia with innovation, though its retro style slightly limits its scope. Its critical acclaim as a top Game Boy Color title underscores its quality. Now let's shift to Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, released in 2001 for the PlayStation 2. With the PS2's enhanced capabilities, Kojima and his returning team, assistant director Yoshikazu Matsuhana, producer Motoyuki Yoshioka, writer Tomokazu Fukushima, artist Yoji Shinkawa, and military advisor Motosada Mori pushed boundaries. The game aimed to balance appealing to Metal Gear Solid fans and new players, as outlined in Kojima's grand game plan. Instead of chasing hyper-realistic visuals, the team prioritized mechanics that made the world feel alive, using processing power for interactivity over fidelity. To preserve surprises, major reveals were kept secret pre-release. Metal Gear Solid 2 comes in multiple versions. The original Substance with VR missions, Snake Tales, and a skateboarding mini-game, and the HD collection, my preferred way to play. The game splits into two chapters, the tanker and the plant. The tanker opens with a dramatic sequence of Solid Snake, narrated by his voiceover, infiltrating a barge in a rainstorm to photograph a new Metal Gear Ray, an amphibious anti-Metal Gear weapon. Otacon, his sole support, reveals they're working for philanthropy, a UN-recognized but unofficial group. The world has changed since Metal Gear Solid. Ocelot sold Metal Gear specs on the black market, sparking a global arms race, but Russian mercenaries led by Sergei Gerlukovich and his pregnant daughter Olga complicate the mission. Gameplay in the tanker introduces first-person aiming, a revolutionary addition that transforms stealth and combat. The level's foggy, claustrophobic halls create an eerie atmosphere, with secrets like shooting tarp hooks or lights in the Olga fight rewarding creativity. This attention to detail elevates Metal Gear Solid 2, blending linear storytelling with sandbox-like freedom. After defeating Olga non-lethally, Snake learns the Russians' plan to scuttle the ship. He navigates to the hold, photographing Metal Gear Ray, but Ocelot betrays Gerlukovich, revealing his allegiance to the Patriots, or La Li Lu Lei Lo. Liquid Snake's consciousness, embedded in Ocelot's new arm, emerges, and Ocelot escapes in Ray, sinking the tanker. The plant chapter, set 2 years later, introduces Raiden, a Foxhound operative replacing Snake, presumed dead. This switch sparked controversy, as fans expected Snake after E3 demos showcased only the tanker. Raiden's design, long white hair, high-pitched voice, and VR-trained naivety contrasted Snake's rugged heroism, fueling backlash. Kojima intended this, using Raiden to explore new themes. The Big Shell, a supposed cleanup facility for the tanker's oil spill, is seized by the Sons of Liberty, led by Solid Snake, later revealed as Solidus, Snake's clone brother. They demand $30 billion and hold President James Johnson hostage. Raiden's mission, guided by Colonel Campbell and his girlfriend Rose, is to rescue hostages and prevent the facility's destruction, which could release toxins. The big shell's hexagonal industrial design, orange-yellow struts and cores, feels cold and hazardous, contrasting Shadow Mose's snowy isolation. Gameplay requires downloading map data from nodes, adding strategic depth. Raiden encounters Dead Cell, a vamp, Fortune Fat Man, Gurlukovich's soldiers, and a mysterious cyborg ninja, Mr. X Snake, posing as Pliskin, and Otacon also appear, working independently. The narrative muddies allegiances. Dead Cell seems villainous, but Fortune's tragic invulnerability and Vamp's vampiric nature blur lines. Snake's presence raises questions about his death, while the Colonel's ignorance fuels distrust. Raiden's mission involves disarming C4 with bomb expert Peter Stillman, who trained Fat Man. Stillman's revelation of faking a disability adds moral complexity. The bomb disposal sequence, requiring coolant sprays and sensors, is tense, with a timer-driven chase to prevent the big shell's collapse. Boss fights, like Fat Man's roller skating chaos or the Harrier jet battle with Solidus and Vamp, escalate the action movie flair, pushing PS2 technology. The Harrier fight with Snake and Otacon assisting via helicopter epitomizes the series' cinematic ambition. As Raiden progresses, revelations pile up. The big shell is Arsenal gear, a massive Metal Gear housing GW, and AI controlling information. The Patriots, a shadow group, orchestrated everything, including the tanker incident, to test the S3 plan, not to create a super soldier, but to manipulate societal consciousness. Raiden, a former child soldier trained by Solidus, was molded through VR to replicate Snake's Shadow Moses experience. The Colonel is revealed as a GW construct, and Rose admits to spying for the Patriots, though she genuinely loves Raiden. Olga, the ninja, works for the Patriots to save her child, sacrificing herself to protect Raiden. The climactic codec call with GW's AI is chillingly prophetic, critiquing the digital age's information overload, echo chambers, and loss of context. It argues humanity can't handle unfiltered data, predicting social media's divisive algorithms. This speech, often hailed as prescient, captures modern anxieties about truth and control. The final battle pits Raiden against Solidus atop Federal Hall, using Olga's sword in a melee duel. Solidus seeks to overthrow the Patriots, but Raiden, driven by personal stakes, defeats him. In the epilogue, Snake frees Raiden from his burdens, urging him to find his own beliefs and pass them on. Raiden discards the player's dog tags, reclaiming his identity. Snake, with the Patriots' names all long dead, pursues Liquid, setting up future entries. This scene offers three interpretations. Kojima addressing his team, urging them to carry the series' spirit, Kojima speaking to players about agency, or a personal antidote to the AI's nihilism, emphasizing free will and legacy. Metal Gear Solid 2 is a masterpiece of subversion and satisfaction. Its gameplay refines stealth with first-person aiming and interactive environments, while its story tackles destiny, control, and information. The AI's warnings about digital overload resonate today, but Snake's final message, choose what to pass on, offers hope. Critically acclaimed, it sold over 7 million units by 2003, surpassing its predecessor. Despite fan controversy over Raiden, its legacy endures for its bold narrative and timeless themes. Ghost Babel, while a detour, showcases the series' adaptability. Both games prove Metal Gear's ability to evolve while staying true to its core, blending cool action with profound commentary.